I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling real chill today, and I just wanted to grab some of my coffee and just chill and answer some of your spiritual questions that I actually get quite a bit, and additional spiritual questions you guys ask me on Instagram. So hola my beautiful lotus flowers, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're into nerding out on everything astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation, this is the community for you. Today is a more laid-back video. I just got home from going back to Cali and visiting my family, so I'm feeling real chill, and I have a lot of questions that you guys have actually asked me about spirituality that I haven't answered, and I thought this would be a great time to just create kind of a chill video where we can just chat about some spiritual topics you guys are curious about. And I have some great questions here, from chakras, the manifestation, to evil spirits, so I'm excited to dive into those. So go ahead and take un segundo to go get your own drink. So take a second to go get yourself a drink or a snack or whatever it is, because we are just chilling today. As you can see, I'm in a different setting. I tried my best to, create a chill vibe here on my bed. I like to keep all of my spiritual tools here on the windowsill. That's like my altar. And yeah, so let's hop into the questions. Let's start with one of my most commonly asked questions that I get a lot as a comment on my spirituality YouTube videos. And the question is basically along the lines of, can you be bisexual or of whatever sexual orientation you choose and be spiritual? My answer is yes. I have wanted to answer this question so bad to everybody. We're in a time where everybody is starting to find their truest selves without the traditional structures of society and the traditional norms really weighing down on them. So with this coming into question, a lot of people are straying away from the traditional constructs of Christianity. And that is a good thing, a bad thing. I don't have any ill feelings towards Christianity, but I will tell you that the reason that this is even a question of whether you can be bisexual, homosexual, whatever it is, and be spiritual or religious, the only reason that that's a question is because a lot of us have been raised under the constructs of Christianity, and Christianity, unfortunately, in the way that it has been written, I won't get into that. I'm just gonna stop myself right there. But unfortunately, under the traditional Christianity that a lot of us have been brought up under, you are not supposed to be questioning your sexual identity in terms of whether you're straight or not straight. So don't listen to that. Do not listen to that. We are all humans with a spiritual awareness inside of us, and it is up to us how we choose to uncover that. Your sexual orientation has absolutely nothing to do with that. None of that has anything to do with your soul and your spiritual self. So you can explore your spirituality no matter what your sexual orientation is. Okay? Okay, don't let anyone tell you different. Okay? Listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, how did your spiritual journey begin? So I kind of answered this in previous videos before, and it's kind of a big blend of things. So I'm gonna try and summarize. Y'all know I'm bad at summarizing, but I'm gonna try. I have always kind of had this strong spiritual side inside of myself. When I was young, I was very just I don't know, I would literally just walk around the front yard and just stare out and feel the wind, and I just always felt like there was something, I felt in tune with my surroundings, and that was just something that I felt. And then growing up, your brain kind of starts to take over, because that's how our society tends to run, is very logic based, very ego driven. So I didn't lose that part of myself, but I didn't really express it much. Not to mention, I didn't really connect with Catholicism, which is what I was raised under, I didn't really connect with it. And so I didn't really explore the spiritual side of me, because in my eyes, I thought that was all there really was to being spiritual, was that specific religion or religions like Catholicism. So that side of me kind of became dormant as a young adult, and then going into adulthood, one of the first moments where I had kind of like, I don't know, it kind of awakened that part of me again, was when I had an aneurysm. I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but I had an aneurysm when I was 18 years old. And if you don't know what that is, then it's basically a stroke in your brain. I'll let you do your own research on that, but that was very scary because it was a near-death experience. And I had a moment in the hospital where my family and everything was praying over me, and I was knocked out. Like, they had me on a bunch of IVs and drugs and everything, and I was knocked out. And my family told me that, like, they were praying for me, and then I suddenly just like woke up and I said amen with my family. And like, I have no conscious recollection of that at all. And I just knew that that was my spiritual connection. And then later on, I mean, I had a lot of moments, but I'm trying to summarize it into a few, because otherwise. So anyways, these are going to be the most like monumental moments. Another moment that I really had like that spiritual side of me really come up, and I thought, there's more to this. Like, I need to explore this side of myself. Like, I have a lot going on with that side of myself, is when I was coming out of a toxic relationship, and my ex and I were still kind of trying to rekindle the relationship. And I actually had a dream. And I'm not going to go into super specifics because this is kind of private for him too, and I respect him. Like, me and him we're on good terms now, and you know, whatever. So I'm not trying to put too much details out there, but I had a dream, a very specific dream, where I saw him talking to a girl, and she looked like I had her hair color, her eye color, what type of clothes she was wearing, like everything. I could see her so vividly. You know, I wasn't going to mention it to him because it was a dream, but I was like, wow, that was a vivid dream of him talking to somebody, and I caught him. Like, he wasn't supposed to be talking to this person or whatever. And then the only reason I mentioned it to him is because I found something. I'm not going to say what, but I found something, and I was like, you know, what's this or whatever. And then it kind of made him, he wasn't really able to lie because I found something. And I then told him about the dream, and his jaw dropped. Like, he was like shook, and he always had something to say. Like, he always had something ready to say, and he was like, that's exactly what this person looks like. And I was like, come again? I saw this person. I don't even know this person. Like, my higher self was telling me, my ancestors, spirit, everything, whatever you consider, was telling me, do not get back into this relationship. We are going to show you what is happening that you cannot see. Like, we are going to show you. And I got shown that in my dreams. And I was like, whoa. And my ex is not somebody who believed in that type of stuff. He didn't believe in like witchcraft and psychic mediums and astrology. He thought that all of it was evil, like it was evil energy to be practicing any of that. So I always suppressed it even more, even though I always felt like I had like kind of psychic moments or things like that, where I just knew things or felt things that couldn't be explained. But I didn't explore it because of that relationship. And then, you know, that moment happened after the relationship was already coming to an end. And then after that, I just was like, I have to explore this side of myself more. And now that I was my own person and I didn't have that relationship holding me back and making me feel like I can't explore that side of myself, Then I dug deeper into it and I started with Buddhism. I actually started with Buddhist teachings, especially the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, and the rest is history. Does spirituality acknowledge the presence of evil spirits or beings or deceased people? So it depends. I just want to say that, I respect every single spiritual belief and religion out there. Everybody has the right to believe whatever spiritual path is going to lead them down their, to their ultimate enlightenment or knowing themselves, as long as it's not, because there is bad energy out there. There are beliefs that encourage the use of negative energy and dangerous energy at that. So I don't condone that. But if you are just trying to find yourself and discover that spiritual side of yourself, absolutely. So I can't speak for every spiritual belief. I'm not a professional in every single path out there. But what I can say is that it depends on the type of spirituality you practice. So, some religions or some forms of spirituality, they do believe in speaking to your ancestors, speaking to maybe deceased family, relatives, whoever, to talk to them for answers or talk to them for guidance. Whereas there are others that don't believe in that type of thing. So it really just depends. So I can't really say, but it depends on what path you take and what you decide that you believe. How can one manifest when she struggles with anxiety? This is a great question because I feel like a lot of us in this day and age, unfortunately, anxiety has become very, very common. And there are, of course, many different forms of anxiety that it can take. And it comes from being in such a fast-paced world, and our bodies and everything are not built for how fast-paced this world is now. We are pretty much forcing ourselves into this very egotistic way of living, and that's not the only way we're supposed to live as humans. So with that, there has come a surge in people being anxious, people being stressed. So when it comes to manifestation definitely requires patience and faith. And that's why faith is one of my favorite things, because you really do have to have faith. And if you are living in a consistently anxious state of life and you have anxiety, then for some reason you are not allowing yourself to have faith that things are going to work out or whatever it may be. So if you do struggle with anxiety, and you're trying to manifest something, I highly recommend just working on your anxiety first before you try to manifest something. Because otherwise, thinking of the things that you want to manifest will stress you out. And I know it sucks to hear that. I know we just want to jump the gun and just start manifesting and all that. But if you know that you really do struggle with anxiety as a serious issue and it's hard for you to overcome, then focus on the anxiety first. Find practices, and I highly recommend looking into Buddhist teachings if you struggle with anxiety, because Buddhist teachings heavily focus on returning to the present moment, and that is key to not stressing so much and making yourself so anxious about what you can't control. And the moment that you start to freak out about something, I would recommend getting in the habit of asking yourself, do I have any control over this? Do I have any control over this at this moment? You know what I mean? Majority of the times, the answer is going to be no. And if you think that you do have control, most likely you don't. As humans, we tend to have this tendency to think we can control everything and we can do everything, but that's just not the case. Okay, so focus on, working on your anxiety first and finding practices that help you calm yourself and return to the present, and then from then you can begin to manifest. Because trust me, as somebody who has dealt with anxiety, if I were to think about all the things that I'm trying to manifest while I'm anxious, then it's just going to hold me back, because I'm gonna get into a further anxious state thinking that far into the future. So don't do that to yourself. Definitely focus on the anxiety first. I hope that helped. To open our blocked chakras, do we need a psychic healer or can we do it ourselves? That is a great question. You do not need a psychic healer. Here's why. You know, having a practitioner of some sort outside of yourself can definitely help you a lot with the things that you're struggling with. Don't get me wrong. And sometimes it can help to jumpstart your own healing. But to ultimately really heal yourself, it's most important that you learn to become in tune with yourself. If you are constantly relying on another person to try and heal your chakras and you're not doing anything on your own, it's kind of like, instead of like exercising and eating good and everything, you don't exercise, you eat badly, then you go to the doctor for your new prescriptions and medications, and you rely on those to heal your body, but those aren't actually healing your body. So every time you place more focus on something external rather than your internal experience with your own chakras and your own energy, then you can potentially create a detrimental pattern to your own spiritual growth, if that makes sense. But don't get me wrong, having a, like, you know, starting off, you know, when I first started working on my chakras, and I still do this because it's good to check in periodically with your chakras, I started doing Reiki because I felt like I needed something to kickstart my healing journey. And that Reiki helped a lot. And if you don't know what Reiki is, I highly recommend you look it up. But that is my answer for that. What would the basics be on learning / starting spirituality? I don't know where to even start. Understandably so. And that is a great question, and it's one that's really hard to sum up and answer, but I highly recommend that you watch this video right here. I was like, where am I going to put it? Right here, because I definitely give you a very great starting point for your spiritual journey. Do you recommend working on all chakras at once or one at a time? One at a time. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with all at once, but I mean, it's better to take anything step by step and take it slowly. I mean, there's no rush. The only time that you should really like tap into all your chakras is if you're doing like a scan of your body, you know, if you're doing like a meditation where you scan your chakras and see where you're feeling pain or discomfort or whatever it is. But if you're working on them, healing them or something, then I highly recommend working on them one at a time, starting from the root all the way up. Because without working on these lower chakras, then we're not going to be able to feed into our upper chakras, because that energy goes up and comes out of the crown. So one at a time, starting from the bottom to the top. Rituals or other supportive practices for different phases of the moon. I feel like the moon really affects me, and I would love to know how to work with this. So again, this is a really hard question to sum up, but the moon is a very powerful energy to get in tune with, especially as a woman, because we are literally like one with the moon. So I highly recommend watching this video that I made about the moon phases, the main moon phases, and how to work with them and what they mean. So that'll give you a great starting point. And I highly recommend reading the book Moonology. I will have a link for it down below. Oh, I'm sorry. I will have a link for it down below. And this is what the book looks like right here. So I highly recommend reading that book too, because it's a great beginner's guide to working with the moon, or even if you just need a refresher and you're somebody who has worked with the moon, it's a nice thing to reference. I personally really like to reference that book as well. Anywho, that concludes all the questions for today, and they were really good ones, and I really hope that this helped some of you and gave you some clarification that maybe you were missing on parts of your journey. I appreciate all of you who decided to ask questions on Instagram, and if you are not following me on Instagram, you should definitely head over there. But you can also head over to the LaBlue Lotus Facebook community. The link will be in the description, and that is where we talk more about using astrology and spirituality for self-transformation. And you can also watch these videos that will help you even more on your spiritual journey if you feel like you are a little bit lost. And again, head to Instagram for a more personal side of my journey here on the internet. Until I see you in the next video, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Adios.